If you found yourself with your back against the wall, knowing that soon you and everyone you loved would be killed, would you do anything, and I mean anything, to save your town? And then we take a look at the story of a young man hiking alone on the Washington-Idaho border. He's an experienced outdoorsman. He knows what to do if an emergency may arise. But there was nothing in his backpack to save him when the world turned weird. Today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. Hope you guys are having a great day too. I hope you guys are having tons of fun doing whatever you're doing. We got a lot of stuff to cover today, so let's go ahead and get started. First off, running into Dead Rabbit Radio Command. Everyone get on your feet and give it up for Conspirasam. Woohoo, yeah, he's running on in, doing jumping jacks, doing a couple push-ups. He's grabbing the mop and cleaning the floor. Wow, this guy's doing everything. Conspirasam shared their Spotify Wrapped with the world, letting everyone know how much he loves Dead Rabbit Radio. That is why he is going to be our captain, our pilot this episode. If you guys can't support the show financially, just do what Conspirasam did. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know. Dead Rabbit Radio is your favorite paranormal show. That is how you can help the show grow. Conspirasam also has a YouTube channel, and I recommend you guys checking it out. It's called Conspirasam. I'll put the links in the show notes. And right now, his newest video, I haven't finished watching it. I kind of just barely started watching it. I got to the part about the green penguins, little green penguin aliens, which is like 5 minutes into it. And then I had to get to recording this. But anyways, I've watched his content in the past. It is really good content. It's a lot like this show. He covers conspiracy theories, paranormal stuff, icebergs. And he's doing a Valentine's Day iceberg. That was the episode with the green penguin aliens. What does that have to do with Valentine's Day? Listen, man, I don't know either. I think it took place on Valentine's Day. But anyways, I trust him. He makes good content. Go subscribe to Conspirasam. We talk online as well. Him and I, we talk every now and then. So check out his channel. Subscribe to his stuff. It's a lot of good stuff. And maybe you can solve the mystery of why green penguin aliens has something to do with Valentine's Day. Okay, Conspirasam. I'm sure he explains it right in the beginning. I think I was getting up to get a glass of orange juice or something. I was like, what, huh? What? I'm lost. Conspirasam, let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to toss you the keys. Let's go classic. I'm going to toss you the keys to the Jason Jalopy. Everyone climb on board as Conspirasam fires this lovable old hunk of junk up and drives us out of Dead Rabbit Radio Command all the way down to Nicaragua. He's like, what? I go, Nicaragua. It's, okay, listen, man, I know I can't pronounce a lot of words, but usually I don't know I'm mispronouncing them in Tuesday's episode, but I know I'm mispronouncing Nicaragua. But anyways, we're driving on out there. And as we're going out there, I want to say something to you guys and gals out in the world about these Epstein documents. And no, I'm not going to talk about the baby thing again, but I'm seeing people really kind of... Here's the thing. I know a lot of stuff's come out in these documents. We don't know how much of it is real, how much of it is fake. Any email that he got or any sort of correspondence the DOJ got about him or the FBI got about him or any emails anyone sent to his email address got put in this batch. There's like 3 million documents. I guess there's 3 million more that they're not going to release. And it's super easy to fake stuff, right? I mentioned this on my Discord. If I wanted to, I could have made up an email address like humaabedin@gmail.com and sent to Jeffrey Epstein's email address, which we actually found on this podcast. We found Jeffrey Epstein's personal blog, which had his contact info, and we found that a couple years ago. If I had emailed something to him from Hillary Clinton at protonmail.com, saying, hey, Frazzle Drip was such a success, I can't wait to wear another face. Can you get me Sydney Sweeney's skin? And I sent that to the email address that we have of Jeffrey Epstein. It would show up in these documents, and they would, blur out the name Hillary Clinton, but probably just from the email, you'd go, oh, that must be Hillary Clinton. Who else wants to do a Frazzle Drip? And there's a pretty high chance, and a lot of people do believe this, as the 2020 election and the 2024 election was going on, people were submitting huge amounts of emails. So if this ever got released, because this is how spycraft works, right? You just muddy the waters, you create all this stuff. He put it out there. Now, I'm not saying don't believe any of it, because some of it's true, but I'm saying don't believe all of it. You're free to do what you want. But either way, whether you believe a little bit of it, I think it's probably around 60% true, 40% fake. That's kind of where I stand now. I can move on that metric. I think a lot of it is just a bunch of idiots talking to each other. A bunch of jackasses. And that's actually probably, the perverts, right? Would be another way to put it. Child-harming perverts. I do think the allegations about him running child trafficking is real. We've seen all sorts of horrific video. Conspiracy, I was talking to him online, and he goes, this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing kind of took a turn for me. He was saying me as in him. When he saw a video of Jeffrey Epstein running around the kitchen with two, we don't know how old they were, but they did seem to be younger girls, and he's like playing with them in the kitchen. It's a disgusting video. And I told him, I honestly, after seeing that video and reading some more about Jeffrey Epstein's emails, like reading the emails themselves, I thought, I don't know if I wanted to release Tuesday's episode. It felt a little too jokey, right? I did pick a story that kind of went along with what we talk about this on the show. Ritual, magic, and the elites harming humans is some sort of horrible joke / spell. But I did end up releasing the episode, and here's why. My advice to you, and you can take it or leave it, you don't need to, but I've seen people really freak out about all of this Epstein stuff online in the wrong way. Do not let this stuff black pill you. And what black pill is, you've received a truth that's so depressing that what's the point of going on? What's the point of living? Because now I know this truth. It's basically a black pill. Could also be described as the despair code. We did an episode on that a long time ago. Put it in the show notes. The idea that there's a piece of information out there that is so depressing that there's just no point in going on living or doing anything. Do not let these documents blackpill you. I saw online someone recently go, that's it, I'm done with music and movies. I'm done with it. Because it's all ran by perverts and sickos and they're all connected to this Jeffrey Epstein guy. Some of them, yeah. Right, and there is a lot of sickos in Hollywood. But don't let this stuff blackpill you. Do not give them more power than they are. This is what's so interesting to me. You have a group of elite people who, for years, centuries really, been spreading the rumor that they control the world. And then people believe they control the world. They don't control the world. But we've deified them. We may think they're evil, and what they're doing is evil, and in Jeffrey Epstein's case, yeah, it's evil. But Jeffrey Epstein was a sad pervert who was abandoned by most of his friends outside of Bill Gates, who you're friends to the end. He was Jeffrey Epstein's personal Chucky doll. He was a horrible guy. They don't run the world. Now, that doesn't mean don't research this stuff. That doesn't mean ignore things. But this Epstein guy and all of his compatriots, they want you to fear them. They want you to be blackpilled. They want you to think that they control everything and you are nothing. That's what they want. So, does not mean don't research it. Does not mean don't engage with it. I think you should research with it. I think you should dig for this stuff safely. Like, obviously, don't go to the island and try to dig up bones or anything like that, but research it, look into it. I'm not saying don't do that. What I'm saying is do not let it blackpill you. Do not let it get you down. It may make you mad, and that's fine, but don't fear them. Don't go, that's it, what's the point of voting? Every politician is controlled by Jeffrey Epstein, who is dead, by the way. I think if you really want to get on my nerves right now, tell me that he's still alive. Because again, that's deifying him in a way. If Tupac's still alive, fine, right? I believe that for a while. But that's his way of living on. That was his big goal, was immortality. We did an episode about him wanting to go into cyberspace so he could live forever. Listen, man, if you find evidence, I'm not saying don't research that. If you find evidence that he's still alive and you research that, fine. I'm not telling you not to do that. But if you're not seriously digging into that, don't give him that credit that he can actually cheat death. Don't give him that power that the world leaders love him so much they would fake his death and get him to escape out of this prison. I guess there was this thing posted on 4chan the day that he died. And they subpoenaed that 4chan post, and it actually did come from a prison guard, and he was saying, I think the bodies were swapped. I think the real Jeffrey Epstein left. But then when they were able to review surveillance footage and all this other stuff from the jail, it turns out none of his story was true. It's very interesting that a prisoner, a guard from that same jail did post that morning, but the story he told appears to be false. Don't fear these guys. Don't deify them. They are not all powerful. They are in powerful positions, but they are not all powerful. Do not get blackpilled by this stuff. Do not give up movies and music. Do not give up the things you love. Do not give up trying to change the world in a good way. You can do that. But don't go, what's the point? Because all of these rich and powerful people are connected to Jeffrey Epstein. All of them. I was talking on my TikTok channel, my YouTube short channel. I was shocked. I found out that Zoran Mondami, the new mayor of New York, he's connected to Jeffrey Epstein. His mom went to Ghislaine Maxwell's house for a party, and I believe the party was in his mom's favor. Like, it was for the mom because she had just directed this movie. I was like, I thought this guy was a bum who worked his way up. I thought he was one of those, like a Barack Obama type of guy. And I know these guys have more connections than you would think, but I thought he was just like a street-level dude, like a Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I know sometimes it sounds like a Cinderella story, not all the details are accurate, but you know what I mean? I thought it was a guy who, yeah, he probably had a hand up. He probably had, was able to get into the right colleges and meet the right people, fine. But also, I didn't think he was connected to Jeffrey Epstein. So I know what it feels like when you go, well, then if they're all implicit. Listen, a lot of people are still implicit in this thing. I'm not saying don't research it, and I'm definitely not saying let these guys off the hook. What I'm saying is do not get discouraged. Do not become black-pilled. Do not become hopeless, because more than anything else, that is what those people want you to be. People who have no hope are easy to control. It's a famous line from one of my favorite movies. And when I was a kid, I didn't understand the impact of it, but as an adult, I 100% understand what Gmork, the servant of the nothing, means when he says, people who have no hope are easy to control. Because unfortunately, I see that happen every single day. Do not let all of this Epstein trash blackpill you. I'm not saying don't research it. I'm not saying just ignore it. But don't let it be your despair code.
Foolish boy. Don't you know anything about Fantasia? It's the world of human fantasy. Every part, every creature of it is a piece of the dreams and hopes of mankind. Therefore, it has no boundaries.
But why is Fantasia dying then?
Because people have begun to lose their hopes and forget their dreams. So the nothing grows stronger.
What is the nothing?
It's the emptiness that's left. It is like a despair destroying this world. And I have been trying to help it.
But why?
Because people who have no hopes are easy to control. And whoever has the control has the power.
Hey man, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This might sound hypocritical. After what I just said, don't get blackpilled, don't give up hope. But I myself now feel myself giving up hope. Because something super gross happened to me today. You're like, Jason, I don't know, man. You cover some gross stuff on this podcast. Please don't tell me you got mucked. No. What happened was, let me go to the chase. I don't want to keep recording an episode. I have no willpower in me to cover the 2 stories I wanted to. It just involves too much talking, and all I want to do is retch. And I'm hungry too, so I don't know what I'm going to do. What happened was today, a while back, I had some oral surgery done on a tooth. It just makes me so sick to my stomach. It's probably nothing, really, to you guys. But to me, it's all I can think about. And I was like, I don't want to talk. I just want to sit here and not think about my mouth. Probably about 2 weeks ago, I had some oral stuff done. And they used stitches. They put stitches in my mouth to cover up an incision. And I specifically asked my dentist's staff, will these stitches dissolve? Because they have dissolvable stitches now. It's a wonder of technology. They didn't have that when I was a kid. And they told me, yes. Well, now it's 2 weeks today, give or take. And I was eating an orange cranberry muffin at a local coffee shop. And one of the non-dissolvable stitches, they weren't telling me the truth. I don't know why they lied. One of the stitches came out while I was eating this cranberry orange muffin. And you go, okay, I know it's not too disgusting, Jason. You do have an open wound in your mouth. Did you get a little bit of orange in there? No. Only part of the stitch came out. So I have about a 2.5 to 3 inch long string in my mouth right now. Just flapping around freely. Part of it is embedded in the gum tissue, so I can't just yank it out. And the rest of it is just kind of moving around. It's disgusting, right? Disgusting. Have you ever, to those of you out there who need to shave or have given oral sex to somebody who is unshaven, or natural, would be the other way to put it, but either you have a beard or you've gone down on someone who has... Jason, okay, we get it. Just shut the podcast off, man. We get it. You're uncomfortable. You know what I mean when you get hair stuck in between your teeth? It's never pleasant. But imagine a world where you couldn't get the hair free. Imagine a world where you have a hair stuck in your teeth, but it can't come out, and it's 3 inches long, and it's in the back of your mouth. I'm really grossed out right now, because I know it's back there. I have it tucked in underneath my gums, between my gums and my lip. It's long. I have to coil it up. It's gross. I can feel it right now. It's driving me nuts. Which is gross, right? To have I'm really holding back from retching the entire time I'm talking. Every time I move my mouth, I can feel that string in my mouth. It's not just that. This string cannot be clean at this point. It's been 2 weeks of me eating beef jerky and macaroni and cheese and roast beef and orangeberry cran muffins. Orangeberry, that's an invention for you. Cranberry orange muffins. This cannot be hygienic. Maybe for the first couple days, there was probably some antibacterial stuff on the string. I imagine this string is covered in bacteria and food particles that have been sitting in my mouth after every single meal. Jason, you do brush your teeth, right? I do brush my teeth, but I don't microbacterial brush my teeth. So here's what we're going to do, guys. I don't want to give you a short episode. I want to give you a good episode. So let me kind of wrap my head around all this as I'm trying to keep this the world's longest, dirtiest pube from flying around too much in my mouth. It has to be filthy by now. 2-3 weeks of orange juice and macaroni and cheese and pot roast and cranberry muffins. Oh, disgusting. But anyways, okay, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to refocus. We're not going to do the Nicaragua story. We'll save that for next week because it's going to take too long and I want to give it the love it deserves. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to give you a Dead Rabbit Radio Recommends that I've been wanting to recommend for a long time. It's a great movie. We're going to talk about something paranormal that happened to me earlier this week, and it might end up benefiting not just my life, but the lives of other people. And then I got a question I want to ask you guys, so I'll let you guys vote through the email or through the YouTube comments or Instagram, wherever you interact with me at, Discord. Conspiracy Sam, we're going to go ahead and have you back for the next episode, but as you're driving us down to Nicaragua, well, we'll hang out all weekend. Let me tell you guys about this awesome movie I saw recently. I saw this movie recently. I really, really liked it. I'm going to recommend it to you. I didn't think I would. The poster, the cover art for the movie, completely unappealing to me. It looked like a badass kid ready to save the day. A precocious young girl holding a power drill. But yet she's cute. She has a backpack with a stuffed animal sticking out of the back. It reminded me, I immediately thought of the Babadook. I don't like movies with kick-ass kids. It's not a trope I'm into. I think it's almost always done terribly. Amazon kept saying, you might want to watch this, you might want to watch this. I was like, whatever. It had no appeal to me based on that cover. One day I was looking for something to put on in the background. I said, fine, I'll watch it. Dude, this movie's nuts. This movie is insane. It's called The Other. And it's about a little girl who's mute. She's a little mute girl. She probably had hair stuck in her mouth, so she didn't want to talk. It's this little mute girl. She gets adopted by this family. Then all these weird paranormal events start happening to this family. It's one of those movies that if you watch the first scene and the last scene, you'll be like, how in the world is this the same movie? Like, I get the characters are the same, but the tone is completely different. And you would wonder, what insanity happened in the last 90 minutes to get from where I started to where I ended? It's a really good movie, and despite the fact that two of the leads are young kids, superbly acted. It's a movie that when you're watching it, you go, okay, so these are the main characters, and you're wrong. Right? The people who you think the movie is going to focus on isn't really who the movie focuses on. It's part mystery, because you're trying to figure out what is it about this little girl that's causing this paranormal activity. And as you don't know, and you only know as much as the characters do. So they're investigating this, so you feel like you're trapped as well. You don't get to go, oh, I know, it's Freddy Krueger. I know who Freddy Krueger is. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and you go along for that journey. And as the mystery deepens, you're like, oh, what? Like, what is going on? And then right when you start to kind of figure it out, because of, in the last 30 minutes, you can kind of go, oh, okay, so this is what's causing it. This is how to stop it. But the movie goes completely off the rails. You're just like, I remember at one point, I'm watching it and I go, whether or not they stop this paranormal phenomenon, a lot of people are going to jail. A lot of people are going to get arrested over this because the situation becomes so dire. And you go, oh my God, like no one deserved any of this. And that's, to me, what makes a really good horror movie. A lot of times the characters just don't deserve what's happening to them. And this movie really makes you feel that because you like the characters. You get to really, really like these guys. Dead Rabbit Radio recommends The Other. Okay, so yeah, great film. Now, this is super interesting. This happened the other day, and I'll just kind of tell you what it is. It's fairly short, but I think it's pretty impactful. And I said paranormal, that might be pushing it, because it lived in the world where I'm not a huge fan of. I know a lot of you guys are like, no, we love these stories. But I'm always like, yeah. And that's the world of dreams. So, longtime listeners of the show know I went quite a long time without having a vehicle. I didn't drive for around 14 years, give or take. I walked everywhere. You don't really need a car up in Hood River. And I enjoy walking. But last year I got a car for multiple reasons. One of them was going out to these ghost conferences. That's becoming a more frequent thing. And I know we'll be traveling farther and farther away as the show continues to grow. I used to love driving. I was a good driver. But you don't do that for 14 years. And all of a sudden you're behind the wheel. I've become a very worried driver. Very scared driver. When you're walking, being scared, I mean, you're not really scared. I was scared of dogs and stuff like that. But when you're walking, what's the worst that can really happen to you? You can get mugged, a dog could attack you, or you could get hit by a car. But when you're driving, like when I was walking, I was never afraid I was going to hurt somebody else. Right? I was never afraid that I'd be walking and wouldn't be looking where I was going and walk on top of a baby. That was never a fear of mine. But when you're driving, there's a huge risk that you may hurt someone else, and that is a constant risk. You never know who's going to come running out in between a row of parked cars as you're driving down the road. So what was happening is I have that fear of accidentally hitting someone with my car. And I'll say this, and this may hurt my future mayoral run for the city of Hood River, but the people up here are idiots. Pedestrians are straight up stupid in Hood River. There has been more than once in the past 2 or 3 weeks when someone dressed completely head to toe in black, walking around at 9 o'clock at night, run in front of my car while crossing a crosswalk. While I'm already coming across the crosswalk, they run in front of my car. And they put their hand up like, sorry. They're idiots. You're right. I'm sorry that you're an idiot. Because you shouldn't have done that. I've been a super nervous driver, right? Super nervous. And I didn't know how to fix it. Driving was no longer pleasurable for me. It actually would give me anxiety. Especially if I had to drive out of the city for one reason or another. One of the things that I would do a lot is I would drive fearful that someone was going to hit me. So whenever I was pulling into an intersection or pulling from a stop sign and the other lane has no stop sign, right? I'm making the corner and I'm staring over my shoulder to make sure there's not a car coming to hit me as I'm making this corner. I do that all the time. And you can imagine, you picture that, right? I'm driving forward, I'm making a corner, but I'm looking over my shoulder to make sure no one's coming up behind me. I do that all the time. And then I look at the front of my car, I see where I'm driving, and I continue to go. I'm afraid someone's going to plow into me. So I'm constantly looking over my shoulder when I'm making those corners. So the other night, it was only like 2 or 3 nights ago. It was very odd what happened to me. I was asleep, like I had just fallen asleep, but I started dreaming pretty quickly. I dreamt I was driving a car. And it's so weird. I'm driving a car in my dream, and then all of a sudden it stops. The whole dream stops. And a man shows up standing outside of my car near the driver's side window. And it wasn't that my car stopped in the dream. It was like time stopped. It was like time stopped. It was like Zach Morris or Evie in Out of This World. It's like they could actually freeze time. This man froze time, froze my dream. But he could move. He could speak. He paused my dream and he appeared right next to my window. And he goes, "You're driving all wrong. You spend more time looking behind you than looking ahead. If someone is coming up behind you and they crash into you, that's not great, but that's their problem. Jason, if you are looking over your shoulder while you are driving forward, you may hit somebody. That's your problem. If the car is going forward, that is where you are looking." The dream unpaused, and I immediately woke up. And I'm laying there in bed, and I go, oh my God, that's right. I've been driving all wrong. Now, what's funny is, up until that dream, I figured something was off, but I didn't know what it was. It sounds simple, right? That's like basic driver ed. But I didn't realize I was spending most of my time when I'm taking corners, and there's a lot, you're driving through these surface streets, these small neighborhoods, I'm constantly afraid someone's going to crash into me, and I'm not looking to see that I might crash into somebody else. And it took this man, this messenger, that's the impression I got from him. He interrupted my dream to deliver a message to me. Watch where you're going. If your car is rolling forward, that is where you are looking. And if you get hit by something from behind, you get hit by something from behind. Honestly, you probably couldn't have done anything at that point either. You can't speed up. You can't evade them. You're making a slow corner. If your car is going forward, that's where your eyes are. It's a very simple message, but after 14 years of not driving, I had forgotten that. And what's interesting, here's the thing. I feel like that was a guardian angel. I think that made my driving better. I'm very aware of that, what I'm doing now. If I had recorded this episode before that dream, I would have probably just said, I'm not a good driver. I feel like I'm missing something. I wouldn't have been able to put my finger on it, but because of that dream, I go, oh my God, he's right. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, and I'm not looking at where I'm going. And today I told Sabine about that dream. And Sabine's in the car with me a lot, right? We go to the ghost conferences together, so long drives. We also just go out to dinner. Short drives. My friend Sabine, we were eating at a coffee shop where I was having an orange cranberry muffin. And I told her about that dream, and she looked at me and she goes, you drive like a pedestrian. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, you drive the same way people walk. Like you're walking, and when you go to cross the street, you look and make sure no car is about to hit you. She goes, I'd watch you do that. You would be looking everywhere except forward. A pedestrian's not worried about crashing into somebody. They're worried about somebody else crashing into them. She goes, you also have no flow with traffic. You let traffic do its thing and then you move. You'll let a row of cars go by. You'll wait for the biggest opening before you turn, like a walker will do, like a pedestrian. Another word for messenger, literally, angel means messenger. And that's who I felt I was visited by the other night. Now, was it an angel from my subconscious? Possibly, right? I knew something was wrong and I couldn't put my finger on it. Or was it a divine messenger that came to visit me, one, to put a little peace in my heart about driving, but two, now I don't drive like that anymore. I don't. I give a look, and then I do a look both ways. I do that. You're supposed to do that when you're driving still, right? You look both ways before driving onto the street. I give that a look. I give that a look. I do one more look over here, and then the second I'm moving, my eyes are facing front. I'm responsible for everything in front of me. If someone crashes into me, someone crashes into me. I still look, right, obviously, but I would take a corner while staring behind me, afraid I was going to get hit. I was driving like a pedestrian. That dream, that visitation, whatever it was, I honestly think has saved me a lot of heartache and has probably saved other people body ache. Because it was only a matter of time before I crashed into a vehicle. Or worse, right? Hit a pedestrian. Because the people up here are idiots. That little message in my brain changed the way that I drive. I drive much safer now just these past 2 days. It's very interesting. Sabine saw it. She goes, I noticed what you were doing. You're like, why didn't Sabine say anything? Maybe I don't know, actually. She obviously didn't think I was a danger to anyone, but she did think that I was driving weird. She didn't notice that. But yeah, I now I have more peace in my heart about driving. I do live in a town full of morons who don't know how to dress if they're walking around at night, sure. But I feel a little bit better. I'm not 100%. I'm not ready to join the Indy 500, but I feel better. So whether or not that was from my subconscious, whether or not there was a guardian angel visiting me, I feel better now, and I think I'm a better driver because of it. I know I'm a better driver because I'm looking at where I'm going. So really interesting, right? Again, I don't know if it was my subconscious or if it was an actual visitation. Either way, it put peace in my heart. And it put peace in the heart of everyone else walking or driving around the town, because now I will look while I'm driving forward. It's funny because you go, Jason, that's obvious. Not if you haven't been driving for 14 years. You just forget all of that stuff. You drive like you walk, which is constantly on the lookout for a car flying down the road when you're trying to cross the street. You're never worried about walking on top of somebody and hurting them. You're looking out for you. And cars flying by. And interesting. I honestly think that that'll be one of those stories that stick with me. The lesson is learned. And when I had that dream and I woke up and I was laying there and I go, I do that and I'm going to stop doing it the next time I'm in a car. And I did. And so I'm very thankful, whether or not it was my subconscious speaking to me, whether or not it was a messenger from God, I'm thankful either way. And speaking of heavenly and devilish entities, I want to ask your guys' advice about something, and this is how we're going to wrap this episode up. There is a story that I have coming up, and I don't know how to approach it. I honestly don't know how to approach it. So this is what it is. There is let me pull it up here. I'm not trying to be a chicken or anything. I honestly just want to use wisdom. I think there's a difference between being afraid and being smart. If you see a sign on a electrified fence, do not touch, and you don't touch it, it's not because you're afraid. It's because you're using wisdom. You're being wise. You know what'll happen if you touch that. It's not because you're afraid of electricity. It's not because you're afraid of fences. You're using your noggin. I don't know where this lands. I'm currently researching a story, and it's one of those ones that I really can't wait to tell you about a supposedly cursed film. And we've covered a lot of these over the years, and I've watched them. Okay? Antrum, we covered that one. The Rise of Babylon one, I don't think I watched that whole film, but there have been things, I've watched clips of it. It was supposedly cursed. We watched videos, cursed videos and stuff like that. There was a movie that came out in 1988. It's an Egyptian film called Adale Yantakem, or Yantakem. Adale Yantakem, which means justice takes revenge, or he returned for vengeance. The English translation of that title came out in 1988. It's an Egyptian film. And apparently, the director, and I'll go more into detail, I'm going to cover the story. My question is, how should I research it? Apparently, the director wanted the movie to be so authentic, we've heard this story before, that in the movie, they summon a djinn. And he goes, I want this to be the best, most authentic take on the djinn and on the paranormal. I want a real summoning spell for a real djinn in my movie. So they included a real incantation to summon a real djinn in the movie. Now, the movie is real. You can find it on YouTube. The scene where they use this incantation, I believe, is also just in and of itself on YouTube. But the whole movie's on YouTube. The story goes, this movie was an Egyptian film. They released it at the theaters, and they yanked it pretty much the same week, if not the same day it came out at the theaters, because people who went to see the movie began to experience severe paranormal events happen to them. Some of them while watching the movie. That part of the story is a little harder to authenticate. And I'll go all into it, the history of the movie, everything. It's really fascinating. The movie's real, the director is real, the incantation is in the movie. The question is, did it make a bunch of people get possessed or attacked while they were watching it? The movie did get yanked, apparently. That I'm not entirely for sure if it was yanked that week, or if the government just banned it, if you can watch it, if you can rent it in Egypt. Those are still things that I'm sussing out, because I'm halfway done with my research here. My question to you is, do I watch the incantation scene? And no djinn can vote in this vote. If you're a djinn, you're not allowed to speak your mind and go, of course, Jason, let us in. I mean, watch the video. It's harmless. It's an incantation that supposedly is real to summon a djinn. So here's the thing. I've watched cursed films in the past, and I've gone into it going, I really don't think it's cursed. This movie may not be cursed either. But my concern is, I'll put episodes in the show notes, I've had no experiences recently about this, but there was about a 1 to 2 week period where I was encountering really weird paranormal phenomenon in my house that I believe was jinn related. And I'll put those episodes in the show notes. That's why I don't necessarily think it's wise for me to watch a scene that has a jinn incantation, because I've had issues with that particular type of entity in the past. I believe it may not have been a jinn. It may have been of all sorts of different things. Could have been another paranormal entity. It could have been me losing my mind. Who knows? But that's my question to you. Should I watch that scene? As a paranormal researcher, I think I should. As someone with recent jinn-related issues, I don't think it's wise. Honestly, if it was a summoning spell for a demon, I probably wouldn't even think twice about watching it. Because I've seen movies that supposedly have real incantations in them, and nothing's really happened. But I am cautious on this. And actually, I have two questions. One, should I watch that scene? Which, I'll let you guys... When I say a vote, if everybody votes yes, it doesn't mean I have to. I'm just very curious as to where you stand. I want to do the story within the next week, really. Next week or two, because I know I've given a lot away. I'm sure some of you guys are going to look it up. You guys get possessed, you're like, I've been listening to the show for 1,000 years. 5 seasons. Do it, Jason. Join us. Should I watch that scene? And I think there's a question, should I watch that scene? And if I do watch that scene, I honestly would feel more comfortable if I watched it in context. If I watched the whole movie. So I'd like to find one with English subtitles, but if I can't, I guess, that's kind of, I might be able to. I would be less reluctant to watch the whole movie than to just watch that scene. I think removed from context, it's honestly probably more powerful. Because then it's not a story, you're not seeing it as part of a narrative, you're actually just watching an incantation. So I'm very curious as to what you guys think about that. I'd love to hear from you guys. Discord, Gmail, YouTube comments, Instagram, Twitter, however you guys talk to me. I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say about it. And so, yeah, that's going to be today's episode. I know it was kind of weird. I actually felt like I was on a really good rhythm when I recorded that first part about the black pilling. And then the whole stitch came loose and I just have been grossed out because I know it's filthy. And it's like having just a giant pube in your mouth you can't get rid of until you go to the doctor tomorrow and they cut it out. And the dentist goes, ooh, yes, another one for my collection. He sucks it down like spaghetti. That's his fetish. 3-week-old dental stitches that have soaked up gallons of macaroni and cheese and orange juice. He's like, yes, another prize for my taste buds. Okay, I know that's probably gross. You're like, Jason, that's nothing compared to what you've talked about recently. But anyway, so that is today's episode. I felt like that was good, right? We got a little paranormal life lesson for me. An awesome movie, dude. Check out The Other. It's great. And then vote, right? There's no official survey. Again, if everyone votes yes, I'm not going to be like, well, I guess gotta watch it as my eyeballs are bleeding. But I'm really curious as to what you guys have to say about that. I know some of you will say no and some of you will say yes. Just curious as to what the reasoning is behind that. But I feel like I've rallied. I feel like I gave a good episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I don't like doing filler, and I didn't just want to ramble on about the giant string in my mouth because that's all I can focus on right now. But awesome. I feel like that's a good episode. I feel like I came back because honestly, I wasn't going to do any of that. I was just going to end the episode and say, I can't talk anymore. I got a giant piece of stitch in my mouth. It's still there, but at least I was able, I think, to get a good second half of this episode. Conspiracy Sam will have you back for next week. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened to it today. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you soon.